Hello and welcome to Nailed On with John and Kris. It's our Game Week 10 preview, another game week out the way, and it's been one of mixed feelings for the two of us. How are you feeling at the moment, Kris?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, considering I took a -8, made some big moves this week for those that saw our changes on Twitter. I mean, yeah, not too bad. Could have gone better. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fairly pleased. It got off to a terrible start, and like you, I also took a -4. So I think it was the week we both took hits for the. I think this was the first time all season I've took a hit actually, but it was quite necessary and it paid off. I think for the two of us.
Yeah.
So let's jump straight into the review, a bit of a performance review of how we both did, and our plans for the team as it currently stands. So down below, you should be able to see my team. And I'm going to talk you through in order of in terms of how the fixtures occurred. So obviously no Palace or Newcastle players, but Wilson is looking really enticing. And of the options below the 6.5 mil bracket, he's looking really good. So that was an interesting start. We'll touch on that a bit later. But straight away, it was the Brighton-Liverpool game. So that was the first game for me. I have Mbappé playing, who lots of managers were saying, why the hell is he in your team? He's in Kris's as well. We've both kind of fell into this trap where he's been underperforming for some time, it seems. And it's been really disappointing, hasn't it, Kris?
Yeah, I mean, we brought him in game week 5, I think it was, after he had returned 3 weeks in a row, had a double-digit haul as well. It was at a time where there was obviously lots of penalties as well, and he was on pens. Just, fairly confident when I brought him in, but since then, he's just done nothing. And yeah, just beautifully summed up by a missed penalty and a substitute appearance at like the 25th minute.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. So for my team, Mbappé obviously missed the penalty, the moment we've all been waiting for. We know that he's on pens. He gets the pen. He misses it for the nice -2. And then I have Robertson in the game as well. At least I'm going to get a clean sheet with Robertson, and he only concedes in the 93rd minute. And I think a lot more managers will have shared my pain on that one. It was a bit of a frustrating start. And from there, I was in a bit of a down mood. But then the KDB transfer. So my transfers last week, I targeted KDB and Vardy, and both of which worked out. KDB, I decided with the captaincy, very much a coin flip between the two of them. We actually both made the same moves there, both targeting the same two players. Obviously, Man City teared apart Burnley. KDB could have had more.
Yeah.
I felt a bit sorry for Vardy owners, Kris. Obviously, you had Vardy captained in yours.
Yeah, as you say, just City, first of all, they did look really good. I mean, I think I said to you maybe before the game that, their last like 3 or 4 games against Burnley in that home fixture, it was like, 3 5-0s and like a 4-1. And obviously, they've repeated it again. So, De Bruyne are a little bit unlucky, but before the game, you take 2 assists all day. So, pretty happy with that. Obviously, you went with the De Bruyne captaincy. I went with Vardy captaincy. So obviously, De Bruyne performed better in the end, but we'll come on to Leicester, a little bit later.
Yeah, and I think whilst we're touching on KDB, when I made this transfer, when we both made this, we were looking ahead because next week they're at home to Fulham. And for those that don't have KDB, I'll say they might be looking at Mahrez, who obviously bagged the hat-trick, and some of the other City options. But if you want someone who is about as nailed as a City player can get, KDB seems to be the focal point of that team. Expect significant rotation in every other position other than goalkeeper. So KDB is the safe way in. He might be on pens, and he's quite comfortably one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. I'm sure
Chris
shares the same. Unreal FPL potential. So he's in the team. Perfect captaincy option for next week, and I strongly endorse bringing him in for that move next time. Moving on through the fixtures, and I'll reference this as they're in my team. So obviously Everton. Now planning ahead, we both knew that this was one of 2 final easier fixtures for Everton, home to Leeds, and they were really quite disappointing here. Really disappointing. A good Leeds performance, but if you double down or triple down on Everton at this stage, their fixtures are just about to turn south, and I'd definitely be looking to move some of their players away. You're in a similar position, Kris, as well, aren't you, with DCL?
Yeah, so I'm on DCL. Obviously, his good run of form came to an end, I guess. Obviously, well, he's not scored every week, but he's scored most weeks, isn't he? And yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with Leeds, to be fair. Everton looked quite flat. They still had a few clear chances, but it was really to Richarlison, not Calvert-Lewin. And James was fairly quiet as well. So as you say, the fixtures are turning south. So that's a discussion point for a later video of what do you do with the likes of DCL and James if you own them now.
Yeah, well, I'm quite comfortable owning just DCL. I think if I had James as well, I think there's some really nice options now presenting themselves in the midfield bracket around that price range. So I think James is a nice, easy transfer out, and then DCL maybe a tougher decision. But I don't mind keeping him just because he's still brilliant value.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving on. I mean, I did actually have, you can see on my bench there, Dallas sat with 8 points. And my decision was Walker-Peters at home to Man U, which now looks like a bit of a silly move, versus Dallas away to Everton. And I do work a lot on percentages. The bookies ever so slightly favoured Saints for the clean sheet. And then I've got to look at Dallas with a potential goal threat if he plays in midfield versus Walker-Peters with his assist threat, which I personally preferred and did not pay off on this occasion, but I don't mind that. I like to try and make the right decisions, and the variant should balance out in time.
Yeah, it's going to happen, isn't it? Sometimes you're going to choose one defender, marginal decision over the other, and one's going to keep a clean sheet or do something, and the other one blanks. It's the way it goes. But as you say, if you're making those decisions based on, percentages and bookie odds and stuff like that, it tends to, work for you in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, and it is a marathon. We're playing. It's a 38-week league, and you're going to see if you're making wild and sporadic decisions every week, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there's a lot of planning that goes into this, and hopefully that will show in the final season rank. Okay, so moving on through the fixtures as well, we did also have Fernandez in that fixture, who did extremely well. I maybe talked him down slightly in our captaincy tier episode. I said I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up with a big score or just nothing at all. And for a minute, I thought this is looking like a Saints 2-0 win, but he did quite well there. And you would have captained him, Kris, wouldn't you? If obviously we both made the same move. You didn't have
obviously, if I didn't bring Vardy and De Bruyne in, I would have been looking at a Bruno captaincy probably. And that's why, we still put him on the A tier on our tier list. So it's still highly recommended on our video. But I was always going to bring at least Vardy or KDB in. So I don't think I was ever going to captain Bruno in the end. But still a good captaincy option, and he's red hot form at the moment, isn't he?
Amazing form. And I mean, it's now a bit hard because I was planning to go Bruno to Salah in 2 weeks' time. That's when Man U are at home to Man City. However, it's also the week that Liverpool are away to Fulham, a team that we kind of thought is going to be a good one to target, although they showed up against Leicester, which is another story. So a lot of decisions there. Whether I go Bruno to Salah, I don't know if it's now worth ripping apart my team up to do so. That's going to be quite tricky. And a lot of managers are going to have a tough decision there if they don't have Salah in their team. Which you can see I don't at the moment, and that could really sting. Big decision there. So moving on to Chelsea Spurs, this always struck me as a bit of a low scoring one. And in my team, I had Ziyech for this week. It was never a good fixture, but I was just happy to land the Chilwell clean sheet, to be honest. And again, Kris and I have very similar teams. You'll see when we go to Chris's. We had the same too. So not a bad result there, I guess, having that Chilwell performance again.
Yeah, and to be honest, when he gets the clean sheet, he tends to rack up the bonus points as well. Him and Reece James are the two that seem to score highly in the BPS system, don't they? Sort of because of the crosses that they put in. Obviously count as key passes and stuff like that. So happy with the clean sheet. And Ziyech still looked dangerous as well.
Yeah, he looked really good actually. The amount of quality passes coming into the box. I mean, Abraham probably should have done a bit better with two almost. There was a deja vu moment where he had two headers, which both should have went in the back of the net. It felt like perfect crosses from Ziyech. My only concern with him is it looks like Pulisic and Havertz are now back. And once again, Frank has tons of options. So I certainly wouldn't want to bring in Ziyech right now, but just because of the risk of rotation, just like Mahrez with Man City, red hot, but with that huge risk of rotation, I just don't know if it's worth it. There's safer options like Grealish, for example, who's near guaranteed to get the 90 in. So disappointing for Ziyech, amazing for Chilwell, and Chilwell is definitely value for money. He looks like a great goal, like attacking threat as well. So a brilliant option for a strong defensive Chelsea.
Yeah, and I guess we've got to talk a little bit about Kane and Son. You know, we said that this was going to be a low-scoring fixture, and obviously, it was good that we took the hits to bring those players out because of that fixture, and Tottenham's next few games as well aren't getting any easier. So I was pretty happy with that as well. To because so many people still own Kane and Son, so it was quite good to see them blank.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much committed with keeping at least one of them, given the form they're in. But it was a really interesting fixture. I mean, that second half, Tottenham had an XG of 0, which just shows how strong that Chelsea defense is. But they've still got some tough fixtures in front of them. I think if you've got Kane and Son at this stage, maybe shipping one out, I feel like you've almost made it through half of the tough fixtures though, and soon it will go back to kind of mediocre, better fixtures for Tottenham. So I don't mind holding on to one of them still at all. Like I think it's perfectly justified. But we both somewhat gambled taking them both out for red hot fixtures, KDB and Vardy, and it's paying off at this stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next fixture as well. I mean, neither of us had any. Arsenal Wolves. Obviously, that's not one that of particular interest. But today's fixtures being Monday the 30th, Leicester home to Fulham. We expected more, didn't we?
Yeah, much
disappointing.
So. Well, yeah. I mean, we said in our captaincy tier episode about Vardy being S tier. Bring him in. He's essential for this fixture because Fulham have looked so bad. But this is the Premier League. Anything can happen, can't they? Some of these weaker teams can come up with a really good performance, and maybe it was. I mean, Leicester looked a little bit leggy. I mean, maybe it was fatigue from playing in Europe. I mean, it was on Thursday, so they had plenty of time to recover, but they just didn't look at the races, to be fair. Whether it was Fulham being good or Leicester being poor, I think it was probably a bit of both. I'm not of the mind that Fulham are now some solid team and are going to go on some run. I'm still targeting that, City Fulham fixture in game week 11 and Liverpool Fulham fixture in game week 12. Those two fixtures are still really key for me.
Yeah, and it's worth adding, I mean, the Leicester fixtures, for those who did bring in Vardy, this was not just about the 1 week punt. Okay, they had the nice fixture at home to Fulham, but now you've got a really nice run in front of you for the Vardy owners. So this is a nice kind of sit back, relax, and watch the points come in from Vardy, hopefully that is. And I'm more than happy to have him in my team. One note I will add is obviously we saw Cavani in that Man U game that we will touch on a bit later, but he's a nice downgrade option for Vardy when the fixtures dry up a bit for Leicester and Cavani starts starting games for Man U. And that's not something which might occur for 3, 4, 5 game weeks, but by then that's the time to maybe make that move. So a transfer to kind of put in the diary potentially and start thinking about. So the final fixture is currently underway whilst we record this episode, which is West Ham at home to Villa. And I have Grealish in my team, who I've had for some time. Really nice price point. And it's a bit tricky to predict when he's going to show up with a goal, but when he does, it's just amazing for FPL owners at that price point. And the fixtures in front of Villa as well. Still got another 5 pretty nice fixtures in front of them. Yeah. Wolves away isn't an easy one in 2 weeks' time, but no, it's looking really good for him, and I'm happy to have him in my team. That's a nice one. I will not be touching. But yeah, so that is the performance. And in terms of my game week rank, you'll see the final rank when this video comes out, but it's currently at about 57k outright. So hopefully as the season goes on, we're going to show you our team every single week. We're going to talk you through the transfers we're going to make, and you'll be able to see that progression as we move to some of the higher ranks. Hopefully a third top 1k finish is the ultimate goal. Go for back to back to back. That's the ultimate plan anyway. So, okay, so I'm going to pass you over to Chris's team, and it is very similar, but we can look at it from a different angle. So Kris is now going to load up his team now.
Yeah, so I'll just go through the differences really. We we mentioned the Villa game going on. Obviously, Martinez, we both got in goal. Just a single point for Martinez, unless he goes on to concede another couple of goals. But I think that clean sheet was gone within about 3 minutes of this game. Yeah. So, we were speaking off air, I guess, that when you lose a clean sheet, you want it to be in the first 5 minutes of a game. You don't want it to be in the 92nd minute, as obviously what happened to John in the Liverpool game with Robertson. So the differences for me there. So I also had Walker, Peters and Chilwell. Going into this week, my defence looked terrible. I was always I was not looking forward to game week 10. So when I made the wildcard in game week 5, I looked at my rotation of my 5 defenders. It looked really good up until game week 10. And then it goes on to be fairly nice again. So it was just this 1 week. And to be fair, as you can see, it's actually done pretty good. Chilwell and Ayling bringing in the points. I had to start Ayling. I had literally no other choice because I've still got Sace, who's out with COVID, and then Lamptey, who was banned. And because I had to make transfers elsewhere in my team, I just had to start those 3 defenders, and pretty happy with that return. A little bit annoyed about picked up a yellow card in the first few minutes. It just, unless you're Reece James, it literally prevents any chance of bonus points when they get the yellow card. But still happy to take the 5, definitely away to Everton.
So you made, so in terms of transfers, obviously I did Vardy and KDB. You did the same, but you had the unfortunate problem of having Zaha, who had COVID. So you actually went for the 3rd transfer. So how did that work out for you as well?
Yeah, really nice. As you can see, I got so I went for Jota. Obviously, he's looked in really good form recently, something that I couldn't ignore. There was always a danger when he first starting games, whether he would keep his place, because he's, when you look at the likes of Salah, Mane and Firmino in that Liverpool front three, you don't often see Klopp ever changing that. But Jota's come in, done really well in the Champions League, and is scoring goals. And obviously Salah being out as well helped him start last week and score. So I just felt at that price point was I was a little bit restricted anyway, because I couldn't upgrade Zaha to a Grealish and do the KDB and Vardy transfers that I wanted to. So I had to downgrade Zaha to someone, and he was the option that stood out for me at that lower price than Zaha.
I will just say on Jota, because I think a lot of managers will have, he did come across to me as a bit of a bandwagon pick, in the sense I was warning against that with the risk of rotation. And it is somewhat unpredictable in Liverpool at the moment, with Mane starting on the bench. So when I'm seeing those 3 options, Salah, Mane, Firmino, fully fit, I just question, how does Jota fit into that 3? There's got to be some kind of leeway. So
I think it's a change of formation, isn't it? That's what we've seen from Liverpool. They've been playing more of a 4-2-3-1 with Firmino in a number 10 role, but
they've just a draw with Brighton, though. A change in formation. Why change something that was working very well before? I don't know. They have a lot of injury problems in their squad at the moment. Players playing in different positions. Yeah. And it's just quite unpredictable. But whilst there are those injury concerns, Jota at his price point is a great gamble. He's one that I'll still be wary of, and I'll make sure if I'm going for him, I've got a nice backup on the bench, because for me, he's still with a big kind of air of caution around him. But at his price point, he's a nice calculated risk, I think, and it's done really well for you, Kris. Looking brilliant at Liverpool. And could be one of the most essential picks at the end of the season. I'll hold off for longer, and I'll probably get stung by it, but I like to kind of play it somewhat safe with these kind of scenarios.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I'm still planning to get Salah in for game week 12. So there'll be a nice Liverpool pair there, as long as Jota's starting games. I'm fairly happy. So the other midfielders we touched on, and then I've got the same strike force as well. Obviously, the captaincy difference. Mopé was just the one, wasn't he? Just terrible.
Worst transfer of the season by the 2 of us. It seemed well justified at the time. He had a great run of fixtures. Annoyingly, actually, I remember at the time when I brought him in, I was 0.1 out from Wilson, and that would have been a different story. But yeah, I don't mind it. You know, I don't like to be too results orientated. I feel we're making good decisions, and we're going to keep climbing on that basis, not by getting lucky every week. So
Yeah.
obviously that does certainly help. But yeah,
so I should just touch on then any sort of future transfers that I'm planning now. Then is so really I've got two options this weekend. I'll probably opt for one transfer, and it's whether I look to make a change from Mopé. Obviously, I just need to wait and see what happens with his injury. Whether if he's going to be out for a few weeks, then it's going to be a definite Mopé transfer out. If he's fit, then he's got a decent game at home to Saints. That have got a fairly solid defense most of the season, but it's still a nice looking fixture on paper. If that doesn't happen, then I've got a decision to make, and whether I just roll a free transfer or I look to change something in defence, because as you can see, I've got Sace just stuck there at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position to you as well, Kris. Both extremely dissatisfied with Mopé. I mean, but if he is fit, then I guess we have to keep him for one more fixture, being a home fixture against Southampton. It's not too bad. With that said, he has just been. My worry is now that he missed the penalty. If he loses penalties, and he's just maybe dropping down the ranks slightly at Brighton in terms of, I don't know. I'm a bit worried for him. He doesn't seem like the value for money we thought he was when we brought him in, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get rid of him. But I just want to make sure I have the right funds to bring in Salah, because unlike you've got it planned. I don't necessarily. So my plan is roll or transfer out more Mopé based on injury.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, so that is it. We're going to be back later in the week with our top picks for next week. And also, of course, the captaincy tier list. And also, we want to let us know if you'd like us to do a bit of a live stream Q&A. We'd be interested to answer your questions on the spot. We have lots of pointless FPL knowledge stuck up here, so hopefully we can share that with you guys and help your own teams.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for tuning in again.
Cheers, guys. See you later.